Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. And if you're here in the Pacific Northwest, you might have a little bit of snow, but we've got just a little bit this evening, and the ground is white. It's not real thick, but we don't get it very often, so it is really nice to see. So pretty when you're sitting on the couch drinking chai tea from the inside. Okay, so let's see who's on. And go ahead and comment and let me know if you can hear me. I never used to ask that. Hello, Jennifer. Hope you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up if you can. Thank you. Hello, Laura. Hello, Lynette. So happy you could join me. Hello, Cynthia. Hello, Tracy. Yay. Does everybody have snow? Cynthia, I know you do because you're right here. Lynette, I'm assuming you do because you're higher than we are. All right. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. And we are going to get started. All right, so as you can see tonight, we're going to be using the Irresistible Blooms. This is part of the new online exclusives. We will be having online exclusives that will be coming out every March, July, and November, every other month. No, what is it? Tracy, we had some snow flurries, but there is no evidence that we had it. Oh, so sorry it's gone. We actually, the little neighbor girl next to us she's about Nathan's age, and she's out playing in the backyard in the snow right now. You can hear her out my studio window. Okay, so we've got these online exclusives. These will be coming out beginning March 1st. We have no end date for these items. Some stocks will be replenished as they sell out, and others will not. And Stampin' Up! Has not told us which ones those will or will not be. So part of that is the Irresistible Blooms collection. And then there's some naturally gilded specialty designer series paper and some basic 3D embossing folders. You get 3 of them and you have to buy them as a set. And then there's some classic letters stamp set that will also be included that we know of. Stampin' Up! Will also be releasing other products, but we have not been told what those are, and we will find out with the rest of the nation when all of our customers do. There won't be any advance notice for us. So part of that is the Irresistible Blooms Cling Stamp Set, 11 stamps. We've got the Irresistible Blooms dies. I love that they're now naming the dies the same as the stamp sets. So we've got that. This is the 6x6 paper stack, and I wanted you to see how beautiful this paper is. It is just gorgeous, I think. You can use for any occasion. All right, so there's those. Those are the front sides. Kind of buried those, sorry. All right, and hopefully those are all in the camera. And then we have the back sides that really, those patterns can go for anything. Okay, so we've got those. Now a couple of these patterns match the dies and you can cut them out. So this one, you can cut both die as well as this 3 leaf floral. Okay, and then you've got this pattern, which you can cut every one of these leaves out with the dies. Okay, and these actually come in 2 different colors. So you've got a second color of those florals that you can cut with the dies. And I guess there isn't a second. Yes, there's a second pattern of the leaves that can also be cut out. Okay. And you get 12 different designs, so you get 4 sheets of each design. All right, so let's move on. We're going to be using that. And then finally in that suite is the loose frosted dots. Okay, and these dots are designed to fit these dies perfectly. Okay, it's not going to cooperate. I need my take your pick tool. We'll be using those later, so you'll get to see how those work. Okay, in my opinion, these 2 dies right here are the stars of the show. And we will be using both of them. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to grab our supplies here. So we've got a card base. This is soft seafoam, and I've cut it at 4 1/4 by 11. And I went ahead and scored it in half at 4 1/4. But what you want to do with this is you want to score it at 4 1/4 and at 6 3/4. Okay. Oh, I already did that, darn it. Just didn't fold it. Now I've done it twice. It's okay. It'll be on the back and nobody will know the difference. It's all right. Nobody pay attention. We'll just leave that. Okay? Pretend I didn't do that. All right. So this is going to create a book bind fold. Okay. And to this, we're going to add a piece of the Designer Series paper. We're using this pattern, and just so you know, we are bringing back 2 colors in this Designer Series paper. They'll return Lost Lagoon and Pretty Peacock. And then we've got, this is just the reverse. So this is a 4 by 4 piece, and this is a 1 by 4 piece. And we're going to add those to our card base. Get that scoring tool. I rearranged my studio. So this is the first time I've crafted since I rearranged. I have to get used to the new layout, because everything is not in its same place. Okay, let's see. My screen is stuck. Thank you for sharing, Jennifer. I so appreciate that. There we go. Now we're moving. I don't know why Facebook does that. It sticks on the original beginning shot and just sits there. And then I can't see what you can see. Okay, so we're going to put those down. Now, when I made this card, I thought this soft seafoam seam binding ribbon was still current. And when I went to look tonight, I realized it's not. But we're going to use it anyway. Hopefully you already have it in your stash. And if not, you can use the narrower seam binding ribbon and color it with your soft seafoam blend. I'm going to go ahead and use this. And I'm just going to tie a bow up here at the top. I'm going to loop, swoop, tuck, and pull without twisting, and then my bow should go exactly like I want it to. Okay, so we've got that. It's important to make sure that your that your ribbon on the inside is flat. Okay, and then we'll cut off those excess. I like to tie on the bolt so that I'm not wasting ribbon. Trim off those ends. Find my garbage wherever I put it. And then we can put this aside, out of our way. Okay, so this is where we're at so far. Now, ahead of time, I took a piece of the basic white. This is 3.5 by 3.5, square. And then I ran this through my die cut machine, and yes, it will fit in the mini and cuts just beautifully. And I've got this. Now this is versatile because you can not only cut it like that, because it doesn't cut out the edges, but if you snip along the lines, then you can get this. You just snip here on these little circles that are attached to the outside edge, and then you'll come up with this so that you could use that for a different kind of project. But this is what I have for us for today. Okay, and these pieces that you see here are pieces that I already cut with my dies from the Designer Series paper, and I took an entire sheet of each of the leaves and the flowers, one print, and I cut up the entire 6 by 6, and I put them in that package. Okay, so we're going to mount this here, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to put some seal on the corners, and then I'm going to get a little bit of glue liquid that I have in this fine tip bottle. This is Tombow in the bottle, and I'm just going to dab a little bit of glue on some of those dots. Not all of them, just some of them. Okay. And then I'm going to add this. Centered to my 4x4. And now I've got that. Okay. So now we're going to take from those flowers that I pre-cut. Got a large flower, and I've got a small flower, and then I've got some of the leaves, okay, from that DSP. And I'm going to take this rose, I guess it's a wild rose, and I'm just going to fluff up the edges just a little, slightly. And then I'm going to put this down with some Stampin' Seal right in the center. And I'm going to place this right here. And I don't want to glue the edges because I want to be able to stick my leaves underneath. I want to move that up a bit. Like so, so I have room for my leaves. Okay, then I'm going to take this second flower, and I'm going to do the same thing, but this time I'm going to take a Stampin' Dimensional, And I'm going to pop that up in the center. And I'm going to put that down to give that flower a two-dimensional look. Okay, then I'm going to take my leaves. I'm going to tuck these under. I'm just going to get some Stampin' Seal here. I'm going to get my silicone mat so that I don't get seal all over my surface, my work surface here. I'm just going to place that in there, making sure that I don't go beyond the edge of my card. I'm just going to give that a good press. I'm going to do the same thing with the 2-leaf piece. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to lift up that edge. And I'm going to put that in there. We'll burnish that down so it doesn't come out. Then I'm going to see if I want this one. I think I'm going to put that one right there. Okay. And we'll just do that. Okay, so now we need to take this and we need to take some liquid glue. We're going to close this up. I'm going to seal this down. And I'm going to give that a good press. I'm going to take my bone folder on the inside of the ribbon. I'm going to lay that down there. This is one of my favorite fun folds because it's so easy, yet it does give a wow. And it works really well if you want to make a square focal point, but not make a square card. Okay, so now we need to put our sentiment on. And out of the center of this white piece, I had this scrap, and I took and cut from the Harvest dies. I took and cut this die out of that piece. And I'm going to use that for my sentiment. Okay. And my sentiment today comes from, both my inside and outside sentiments, come from the Beautifully Happy Celebration stamp set, which is about to go out. You can still get this for free if you make that choice with a $100 purchase in my online store. Then Stampin' Up! Will send you this stamp set for free. It's a 17-piece photopolymer stamp set. Does 2-step stamping and makes beautiful images easily and quickly. And I really like the fonts in here. So we're going to take this Kindness Matters, and I'm going to use the Pretty Peacock. I did not get rid of my ink color, and so this coordinates with the paper and the returning color. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink that up. Make sure it's good and inked. And then I'm going to stamp this over. Right or left doesn't matter, but I'm going to stamp it to one side. Set that on there and let the ink transfer. Okay, oh, then I stuck my finger in it. That was not good. Let's close that up so I don't have an ink catastrophe. clean off my, oh, okay, we'll clean off my finger. And we will grab our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. We're going to use the mini. And I'm going to alter this shape. Okay. So we're going to take plate 1. I'm going to grab that die. Set that down. I'm going to grab this die, and I need to get some, where did I put those? Some tape here. And you can feel when this slides right into the edges. So I'm just going to slide that along the edge so I know it's good and locked in there. And I'm going to tape this on. Oops. And then I'm going to put my cutting mat, but only to about the edge where I want that to go. And then I'm going to roll that in. And then that will make my shape the right size that I need it. So that can make your dies go a lot further. So we're done with that. Let's set that to the side. And then we can add this. And I'm going to add this on flat. And I'm going to put this right here. Okay, and then we're going to take and add some of these frosted gems, loose frosted gems. Frosted dots is what they're actually called. Okay, so I'm going to put one over here. I'm just going to put a dot of glue. I'm going to put one up here. And then I'll put one right here. Okay, so I'm going to grab one of the large dots. I'm going to put up here on the large circle. Like so. And then I'm going to get one of the medium dots and put over here on the medium circle that I put my glue on. And finally, I'll grab a little one. And I wanted pink. I wanted the Flirty Flamingo. These come in Flirty Flamingo, Daffodil Delight, and Pretty Peacock. Okay, I got it to dump over there, and then I'll just put that down, and there we have it. Okay, put our extra one right back in the case, and let's put the lid back on that before I make a mess. Okay, for the inside of this card now, I took a 3.5 by 3.5 piece of basic white, and then I added a piece of that same designer series paper, 1/4 inch by 3.5, stamped the thank you from the Beautifully Happy, and again I added one of those cut out flowers and the leaves. This will make a quick card. You don't have to do any coloring. And then we'll add this to the inside of our card. Quick and simple, yet has a little bit of a wow factor. And then here is our matching envelope. I've just taken the stamp and the leaf and I stamped them in Calypso Coral and Pretty Peacock again. And that is our finished card. All right. Okay, let's set this to the side. And then we'll go on to our next project. Just get these things out of the way. Put our die back because we won't be needing that die again. And here we are. Okay. Thank you. I'm glad you like that card. Thanks for, oh, I love those hearts. Thank you so much. Okay, so our next project is actually a 3D project. So let's put this to the side and bring in our next project. And I also wanted to show you, here's a bonus card I made. This particular card uses the daffodil set, the daffodil daydreams that is in the annual catalog. It uses the scallop contour dies for this piece here. And the sentiments and the frosted dots here are actually from the Irresistible Blooms stamp set. I just featured the sentiments on here, and I wanted to show how you can use them with any of your other stamp sets, and that gives you a really nice project. Okay? I'm sure anybody would love to get that card. All right, so let's jump into our next project and get that started. All right. So for this project, we're going to make a treat box, and this is our treat box. Holds one of these Nature's Bakery bars. I picked this up at my local Winco store. They have them in the bulk food section. You can either buy them in a box or you can buy them individually. And I thought it would, this would make a lovely little gift for someone. By 6 3/4 inch piece of cardstock. Grab our scoring tool, simply scored, and we will score this on the first side because this is a square, so it doesn't matter which side you start on. You're going to score it at 3/4, 5.5, and 6 1/4. And this is a piece of a Lost Lagoon cardstock that I had on hand. And one of the returning colors in that Hello Irresistible Designer Series paper. So we're going to rotate that clockwise. So we score it again at 3/4, 5.5, and 6 1/4. Rotate clockwise 1/4 turn. And then we're going to score it at 3/4, 3, 3 3/4, and 6. Okay. Again, those measurements are 3/4, 3, 3 3/4, and 6. Okay, so we're done with the scoring. And now we just need to fold and burnish on all those score lines. This is what I like to call a tuck flap box, because you tuck the flap inside the box to close it. All right, so now we'll grab our paper snips. And this piece here that has the double score line is at this end. This is the top of our box. The single score line here opposite is the bottom. And this is going to be our glue tab. And let's make sure. I think this one's our glue tab. I need to make sure which one is the 1/2 inch. 3/4. I made them both 3/4. I guess it doesn't matter. Pick one and call it good. Okay, so this is going to be our side tab. So I'm going to cut up on the first score line horizontal, vertically, and then I'm going to angle cut this on the side there, because this is going to be my glue tab. I'm going to repeat that down here. I'm going to angle cut on that end, and I'm going to cut these 2 squares off by cutting on the vertical line to the second horizontal score line here, and that's what I have. Then I can cut up on the rectangles and then diagonal cut on the square both sides. So I want to wedge it out, take that score line completely out. Again, I'm going to cut to the side of the rectangle score, and then I'm going to cut a diagonal on that tab and another diagonal there. Okay, now for the top of our box, I'm going to cut this section off. I want these 2 to come completely off. So I'm going to cut, this time I'm going to cut to the right side of the tab score line, and then I'm going to remove these 2 sections. I'm going to cut on that second score line up to that cut I just made. And then I'm going to go back to cutting to the right so that I'm cutting on the rectangle straight up. And I'm going to do that on both of these score lines, these vertical score lines, to the second horizontal score line. Then I'm going to fold this piece in. I'm going to cut this off at the at that first score line, and cut this one off at that first score line. And then I'm going to angle cut both of these tabs on the right and the left. These are what's going to tuck into your box. You do not want to take a great big wedge out of these, because your box won't stay closed very well if you do. Okay, so this is what our box looks like so far. Oops, what did I do with my, there they are. Different project I had them in. Okay, now I'm going to take a corner rounder. You can use any corner rounder that you have on hand. Stampin' Up! Doesn't have one right now. And I'm going to round the corners of this box. You could just angle cut these, but I prefer the look of the rounded corners. So I'm going to round that corner. And then, so everybody knows where to open this, I like to take and measure. You don't need to if that doesn't bother you. And I'm going to take my stylus. This is 2 1/4, so I'm going to go at 1 1/8, and I'm just going to make a little indent there. Then I'm going to take a 1/2 inch circle punch. If you don't have one, you can get it on Amazon or at a local craft store. And I'm going to cut just a little notch in there for the finger. Okay. All right, so now we're ready for our tear and tape. I'm going to put my tear and tape on this tab on the outside, and I'm going to put it as close to the score line as I can get it without going over. Okay. And then I'm going to turn it over, and this is the front of our box. So on the inside bottom tab, I'm going to put my tear tape as close to the bottom as I can get it. I want it away from the score line to hold it closed. Okay. Now I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool. I'm going to peel off that backing. I'm going to fold on the second score line from the right. And then I'm going to fold this over, and this is just a hair too wide, which is why I thought I did a 1/2 inch tab, because if you make this just slightly shorter, it folds together better. So I'm just going to take a quick little 1/16 cut off of that. And then I'm going to lay this flat so that will just lay right down. Not sure why I did 3/4 instead of 1/2 when I designed that. Okay, so now I like to tuck my 2 tabs in at the top, fold in my tuck tab, then I'm going to fold in the sides of the box, fold in the back of the box, and I know it's the back of the box because I have the tab here. And then I'm going to take my tear and tape backing off. I'm going to be real careful here and make sure I square up this box bottom. Okay. Then I'm going to burnish that down. All right, so now our box is complete and it's ready to be filled and decorated. And I have another one of those Nature's Bakery oatmeal crumbles. This one's a strawberry. Fits right in that box. Okay, then we're just going to flip this over and we can begin to decorate this. So I'm starting with a piece of Designer Series paper that is 2 by 4.5. And I'm going to get a piece of, or take some Stampin' Seal, and I'm going to add this to the bottom of my box, or to the top of my box here. Center it up as best I can. Then I've got another piece of the Designer Series paper from that same collection. But before I glue this one down, I want to cut this. Okay, so I want to cut this to the right length. So I'm just going to take and flip this over, and I'm going to cut this off right there. All right, so this piece was cut from basic white, and actually I used thick basic white with this long piece, and this is what you get from that. Okay, so we're going to take some liquid glue and my silicone mat, and I'm going to flip this over, and I'm just going to put some glue on some of these dots. Now you could cut this with your adhesive sheet, and then you wouldn't have to do this, but I think the dots are plenty big enough that I can just do it this way. And then I'll just put a little tiny bit of glue at the ends of those pieces there. So remember, Tombow, you don't need much. If you can see it, it's enough. Then I'm going to grab this piece and I'm just going to glue it right on to this piece. Okay, and it's okay if part of it hangs off. I'm okay with that. I'm going to take this piece then. I'm going to run some Stampin' Seal down that. And I'm going to add this to my box. Just like that. Okay. Then we need to grab some scrap basic white. We're going to take the large flower and we're going to ink this up in Calypso Coral. Let that ink transfer. And then I think I'm going to do the same thing with this treat box that I did with the smaller flower as well. Mount that on a block real quick. We'll ink that up also in Calypso Coral. Okay. And then we need some leaves. And we're going to do those in the Pretty Peacock. And we need the word hello. And where is, oh, there it is. Everything I need is right here. So let's grab that Pretty Peacock again. I'm going to really ink that up. Okay, so I've got that. And I need 2 of these smaller leaves. Okay. And then I also need a bigger leaf. This is the 2 leaf. Okay, so I've got that. And those are the pieces that we need for our decorations. Now, some of these, I've already got some of these done. I've got the large flower. I've got my leaves. Okay. And I've die cut those. I'm going to need to die cut that smaller flower because I decided to add it. And then with the hello, I took and hand cut that out. I didn't want you to have to watch me fussy cut that. So let's go ahead and grab our mini again. Set these to the side. And we'll get the smaller flower of the 2. And where did I set those? There they are. Okay, so we've got our base plate 1, cutting plate 2, and then we're going to take our flower and we're going to put that down. And to find this, I look for at the top of this, there's a little indentation that has 2 little divots here, and that fits this petal right here. So I'm just going to line that up right there, secure that down, put my top plate on, and run that through. Okay. And now we have all of our pieces. Okay. Let's get those out of the way. Put our dies back on their sheet so we don't lose them. All right, now you could tell me now Here's what it looks like if you don't do anything, and here's what it looks like if you add pale papaya and a little bit of daffodil delight. What did I do with my daffodil? I definitely want to add the daffodil delight to the center, but I only need to do that on the smaller one. So let me grab a scrap piece of paper here. And I'm just going to take my Stampin' Blends. In the meantime, while I'm doing this, you tell me whether you want me to color pale papaya or leave it white. Okay? Go ahead and put that in the comments. I'm just going to dot on the dots that are in there and then color in the center of that. Okay, let me refresh my screen so I can see what you guys are saying. Pale papaya or not? Papaya, pale papaya. All right, let's go for it then. Okay, so we've got our pale papaya Stampin' Blend, and I've already got this one done. Just took my brush tip and I very, very lightly, barely touched my paper. Now, you guys, I need to pay closer attention to the sound yes, sound no. Oh my goodness, I don't know what's up with Facebook and the sound. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, good. I do not know what's going on with that sound issue. Okay, so here are our projects. How much of that box did you guys miss? Thanks. I'm glad you like that gift box. Those are our projects for tonight. And let's see, where did I put that bonus card? Right here, using just the sentiments. Oh, thank goodness you can hear me now. I don't know. Okay. Well, I hope you didn't miss too much of that. All right, everybody. I will be back next week with another Facebook Live on Wednesday night. Same bat time, same bat channel. And we will look at, I think, Playing in the Rain. It's on back order, but it will be back March 13th. So I think we might go ahead and use it next week. If not, we'll be using Taco Fiesta or Easter Bunny. We'll see what's in stock. All right. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Hope you have a great week, and I hope you get a little bit of snow that you can go play in. And I will see you soon. Good night.